Hey, it's Becca. Welcome to my channel where today we're doing something a little different. I thought it would be fun to share a 1-hour marathon of my summer Decorate With Me videos from last year. I'm sharing everything from mantle styling to vignettes, furniture placement, bookcase styling, floral arrangements, along with a few of my favorite pillows and rugs. My hope is that maybe you'll see something that inspires you or gives you an idea or two for your summer decorating planning for this year. Thanks so much for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed today's video and will consider subscribing to my channel. Let's get started. As always, it helps me to start with a clean, blank slate. Starting here on the island, first thing I did was to slide a white tray to the center and then layered a green and white dish towel. I went with the green and white because I knew I'd be bringing the yellow in with the lemons. So this is an arrangement I had out for spring, but I just added in a few lemon branches I had on hand and then continued with more lemons in a bowl under the cloche, and then a couple more right here for my favorite diagonal pattern. On the shelves, you can see not a whole lot going on, just white glass and just a little bit of greenery. So starting with that greenery, I added in some lemon stems that I had on hand just to give it that little accent of color. Now, instead of doing another one here, what I did to tie these two together, since I have picture, is I used the same stand up there that I did down here. And then coming down here, the dishcloth that I have, this is actually, it was a lot larger, but I cut it in half so I'd have one for the other peg rack on the opposite side of the room. But it ties in diagonally with the greenery up there. So see how my crazy mind works. Truth be told, I am not a big baker or chef, so the flour and sugar will not be used, but I still like having canisters on our countertop full of them. But instead of adding scoops in there, I like to add coffee cups. I think it's a great way to add color and interest. I did end up taking the smaller yellow coffee mug out and put this one in instead. It's a little large for this canister, but it matches that one, and I do think it looks a little bit better. I really like the yellow and white ribbon. I think it's a fun addition, perfect little pop of color back there. And don't worry, if I am using the back two burners, I promise you I remove the wreath so it doesn't become a fire hazard. Okay, so let's chat about the tablescape. I started off by adding this little cloth down in the middle. I didn't want to do a table runner this time because I've had one there for a long time. Started with the fabric and then added a soup tureen. I love using those as a centerpiece. Layered in a fern and faux yellow flowers. and then flanked it with canvas. So the place setting started with a woven charger, then layered a white charger, napkin, white plate, and aren't those so fun? Would you believe I found those at Goodwill a couple of months ago? I think I paid $3 for 6 of them. And a quick little tip while we're here, if I only have 4 of a certain kind, for example, the plates, I only had 4, I'm using the other 2 in a different room. What I will do is use the 4 in the middle, but then at the head and the foot, I use a different plate. So see, this one has the little beads on it. So then what I did to tie it all together is, see how I have the plain napkins here? But then these napkins for the 4 in the middle have the beaded detail. That way it connects or ties the napkin to the plate that are at the head and the foot. I know it's crazy, but that's just how my OCD mind thinks. Not too long ago, our sunroom looked like this. And here's how it's looking this morning. Empty. Most notably, the accent chairs are gone, as is the buffet that was in front of the window. It's time for change. Chairs are in place. What do you think? I am a huge fan of woods and whites. I love the contrast, and I feel like these chairs give a cozy, casual vibe, which is what I'm going for. I love their woven texture and the varying colors. But I will admit, I'm not crazy about how they blend into the seagrass rug. So let me go grab the faux hide that I had in here before and see if that makes any difference. Faux hide is now in place, and while it isn't very large, I still feel like it makes for a fun accent layered over any type of seagrass, jute, or sisal area rug. And while only one leg from each chair is on top of it, To me, that gives just the right amount of contrast for me to feel good about having the darker woven chairs on top of the dark seagrass rug. What do we think of the coffee table? I chose this one because I had it on hand. I like how its shape mimics that of the love seat, and I don't feel as though it is too large for the love seat. I know this is a very small room, but sometimes you can pile in a lot of furniture without it looking crowded, or at least I hope it doesn't look crowded in here. I'm going for cozy. And speaking of cozy, to me that goes hand in hand with creating a conversation area. Now see how I have the chairs angled out? They're facing outward towards the kitchen, not the love seat. But there are two other ways I could angle them to make them feel more part of a conversation area with the love seat. So let's quickly take a look at those two other options. Here's the next look. By turning the chairs in towards the coffee table and the love seat, I've created more of a box area, which I like because it looks very balanced and symmetrical. And those who are sitting in your accent chairs can easily see each other, and they can also engage in a conversation with those who are sitting on the love seat. And here's the third option. I turn the chairs one more time, so now they're facing the love seat. You can see outside to the backyard. You still have enough room to get out to the deck. But the only drawback is if you're sitting in the accent chairs, while you can easily engage in conversation with each other and those on the love seat, it might be difficult to see or engage in conversation with those who are standing behind you in the kitchen. All right, be honest, which arrangement did you choose? I think I'm going to go with this one, which is kind of a cross between the first and second. The chairs aren't as angled, but they're not squared off against each other. I feel like a soft angle helps break up all the lines that I've got going on in here, the straight lines, well, except for the faux high. So now that that's been decided, it's time to start decorating. First the cabinets, then I'll work my way down to the love seat, chairs, and coffee table. Here we go, starting off with this oval platter that I've had on hand, but I haven't used it in a while. I then love to add plates to my bookcases, of course faux greenery. Books are a staple, and candles, ambiance, with a little bit of glass. And then coming down, I love doing the diagonal method, so since I had the books at the top right, now they're at the bottom left, along with more glass. Plates are opposite each other, and no surprise, the exact same greenery. I'm very intentional and pretty predictable with my style. Finishing off the bookcase are 3 pictures. I love odd numbers, and they're also a great filler for your bookcases. And for those of you who have been here a while, it will come as no surprise to you that I'm doing the exact same thing, but in an opposite fashion on the other bookcase. So where I had the pictures on the bottom shelf of the other bookcase, they're at the top on this one. Now, because I had to scooch my woven chairs over so they're not on top of the faux hide rug, giving a little bit of contrast, I'm going to lighten these chairs up just a bit by adding a white throw, a white pillow, and then a smaller lumbar, which looks like it's made out of drop cloth. On the love seat, no surprise, adding the same throw. I have a lot of these. They're from IKEA and super inexpensive. The same white pillows to tie in with the ones on the chairs, but I added this French brown and white pillow because the brown mimics the shades of brown that are in the woven chairs. Time for a little coffee table styling. I love adding candles for ambiance, and you can never go wrong sliding in a tray and layering a couple of books. Now, where I could have added florals, I decided to go with these wooden chain links instead. Finally, down below, I'm bringing back my favorite dough bowl and filling it with faux greenery since I didn't add any florals to the top of the table. Lastly, I decided to attach this artwork to the windows. It's smaller than I'd like, but we'll just see how it looks. A nice blank slate. And in case you're new here, just a few little facts about the room. I recently painted below the chair rail that Sherwin-Williams Retreat. That ties in with the kitchen island that I painted the same color. A few years ago, I added the peel and stick murals. That's actually part of a really large mural that could cover your entire wall, but I only wanted to focus on the segment that had the tree. So the designer was kind enough to print a mirror image so that the trees face each other, satisfying my need for symmetry. Now, I did add the shelves back, and I know a lot of you don't like that. I totally get it. I may end up taking them down one day, but for now, I love having other places to accessorize. The mirror and sideboard are from an antique store in South Carolina, which of course I ended up painting. And the lamps are pretty much staples on the sideboard just because I like how they balance with the large mirror and the murals. The chandelier was a purchase we made a few years ago, and I absolutely love it. I'm going to link it below because you are not going to believe how inexpensive it was compared to the price tags I saw on others. It's such a great size, and I love the way the crystals reflect on the walls when the sun hits it. And then this table was a gift from my sister several years ago. This is an indoor-outdoor rug, which I highly recommend under a table, even if you don't eat at said table. Over here we have a buffet that we've had for several years as well. In fact, it used to have a hutch on top that we eventually sold. I added the shelf there to tie in with the ones here, and I was so excited when I was on Etsy not too long ago and I came across this print. This is the mural that's on the other side of the room, and you can see much more of the scene. So I love how that all ties together now. And then I added the sconces a few years ago as well. So that's what we're working with. And now I will start decorating. Now normally I start with the shelves and work my way around, but this time let's start with the sideboard. And here's what I'll be using. Faux florals and faux greenery, and I like how the leaves and the greenery mimic those on the trees and the murals. This glass jug, blue and white towel, oversized candle holders, and my favorite battery operated candles, a simple white pitcher, and cake stand. Now let's do something with the shelves. And here's what I will be using on them. Tried and true pitchers, bowls and plates, a little bit of faux greenery, and glasses. And I like using glass on the shelves because you can see right through it to the mural, so it doesn't obstruct it too much. I know there's a lot of repetition here. Again, I am slightly addicted to symmetry, and I admire all of you who are more asymmetrical. Maybe one day I'll get there. Moving along, let's do something with the buffet and the shelf over here. This print's gonna stay only because it matches the murals, and I wanna keep it pretty casual. So let me show you what I'll be using. Starting over here, I have my tried and true soup tureen. These very dainty pitchers. I like how their design ties in with each other. And these little mini creamers. I have these containers that usually I have the lids off and I use them as planters, but I put the lids on and I'll use them like that this time. Just a little bit of blue. These were the only pieces I had left and I didn't feel like buying anything, so I'm just using what I have. Of course, glass, and that'll tie in with what I did on the shelves. Plates, of course. These pieces, which I had those out for spring, and this is actually garland that I just wrapped around to make it look like a wreath or wreaths. And then these little towels, so I can bring in a little bit of green and a little bit of blue. last order of business is doing something with the table. Brought out the remaining pieces that I have on hand, including glasses, chargers, which I love these. They're plastic. These bowls, I like that lattice detail. These dainty plates, my blue and white pieces, napkins, and flatware. Just for fun, let's look at a couple of different ways that I could do the table. I could place that right in the middle and call it a day. Keep it very simple. Or I could flank that with these candlesticks. Again, very simple. I could even take these little plates because I don't have a blue vase. I wish I did, but I don't, and I don't want to go shopping. I'm using what I have. I could even place the little plates under the candles for that tiny pop of blue. Now here's another option. For my asymmetrical friends, I could raise my granary up on this little stand that matches the one on the sideboard, and then just casually add in the glassware, plates, napkins, and flatware. I could even anchor this in a large, really pretty tray or on a cutting board. This allows you a more casual look, maybe if you're having a buffet or you don't want to have that look of a more formal tablescape. Now the option I think I'm gonna go with is this. First, I'll add a table runner. I use this in a different room for spraying. Let's just ignore the wrinkles. Those will be covered up, I promise. Next, I'm adding the chargers all the way around the table. And now classic white napkins. And then the white plates. Now I'm skipping over the head and the foot, and I'll explain why in just a minute. Same goes for the smaller blue and white plates. I'm skipping over the head and the foot. And here's why. I only have 4 smaller blue and white plates. Because of that, I'm going to place these larger ones that tie in with the smaller ones at the head and the foot. I do this quite a bit, and I think it gives your tablescapes a fun or even unexpected detail. And then to tie it all together, I'm placing a white bowl on top at each place setting. And finishing it off with flatware and wine glasses. For seating, I'm bringing back these cross-back chairs. These Parson chairs with an added bit of blue and linen pillow, along with a casual bench. Now that I'm done, let's take a look around. Welcome to our living room, which is right here off of our foyer. For those of you who are new here, when we first moved into the house about 9 years ago, it looked a little bit different. The wall came in a whole lot more on each side, and there was one little door. But we felt like that one little door just didn't match the two-story foyer. So we had someone widen the wall or remove part of the wall, add in the columns to tie in with those in our family room, and visually we feel like it just balances a bit better now with the two-story foyer. And then eventually we added the faux fireplace. I found that on Facebook Marketplace, and the shiplap above, and the billy bookcases on each side. I added trim and molding to give them more of a built-in, hopefully custom look. And the other thing I did in here was to paint the room white and add the floor-to-ceiling battens. That was a very quick, easy, and inexpensive DIY, and it's a great way to add visual interest, especially to white walls. All right, now that I've bored you with a little backstory of this room, here are my plans for today. I want to go ahead and give it a little bit of a different furniture configuration, not a completely different one. That'll happen for summer. So one of these love seats is going to go away. I've gone ahead and emptied the bookcases except for the baskets. Those are a staple. Baskets are such a great filler, and I like the balance and symmetry that they add. And then the frames, I need to fill those with something as well. One more look at the before. And here's what it looks like with the two chairs. So by removing the love seat, visually it doesn't seem as heavy over here, does it? Even though I have two chairs and a table in its place, it isn't covering up as much of the windows as the love seat did. And it's also giving our cats a new place to perch. We could do it like this. I have never had it before in this configuration, and I'll tell you why. It's because of the closet right there. When we had the wall widened, we weren't able to center the columns on the back wall because of the closet. So now, once we added the fireplace, that means that looking straight ahead, the fireplace isn't centered in between the columns. Now, for most people, that's not a problem. But for me, who is obsessed with symmetry, it is a problem. But I'm going to embrace my need for asymmetry and give this arrangement a try. And while I was tempted to leave this wall blank or empty, I decided to move the cabinet in for a couple of reasons. I feel like the window pane doors tie in with the windows here, and it also conceals that lovely air return over there. I need to get one of those pretty vent covers. I am going to take the picture frames down though, because I don't like it when you have a piece of furniture where what is above it is wider than the piece of furniture. Thank you for letting me talk your ear off. I'm going to be quiet now and start decorating, and we'll take a look at it when it's all done. For seating, I have our love seat and two accent chairs. Now, I know it's a lot of white. I have the white pillows, the white throws, but then one little pop of color with the beige lumbar pillows. Now, I did it for a reason. This is just my calm pre-summer reset, but I feel as though I can get away with it too, because look how much pattern is going on in the accent rug. So to me, your eye goes directly down there, so it allows the white furniture in my mind with the beige pillows to work. To me, it's just a little calming. I don't want things too busy. As for a coffee table, I had the other one in here, but it was a little too wide in this cozy seating area. So I brought the bench in from our dining room, and then just placed books on it, just to try to make this look like a room where you want to sit in the peace and quiet and pick up a book. falling shelves, I keep it a little basic, but I gotta have my symmetry. So for example, I've done that by having a woven basket at the top and the bottom. That gives me balance. And then here, I'm a big fan of the diagonal method. So where I have my white box and greenery there, diagonally down, I have a white frame and then the artwork with the greenery in it. Here, I have the white bowl with the book. And down here, while I didn't do another bowl, I do have a white pitcher with another book. And then I did the opposite. I flip what I did over here on the other bookcase. So it's balanced, but I have a little bit of asymmetry. All right, this is pretty basic compared to what I usually like to do, but again, this is my calm pre-summer reset. And because I have a lot going on in the bookcases, I feel like it's okay to just have simple candle holders and candles and something right in the middle. And of course, this ties in with the greenery that I added to the bookcases. It's not identical, it's a lighter color, but I do like how the leaves are close to the same shape. And then I added just a few little white flowers in for contrast. On my little cabinet, I made a couple of changes after I filmed earlier, and that is to layer this print in the back against the mirror and then add this greenery as well. Now, it's a lighter green than that on the bookcases, but that's okay because the shape of the leaves mimic each other. Same with the print. So I'm bringing that greenery over, and while it might look a little crowded over here, that's okay because I have such calm furniture going on. I think this works. And then instead of going with a plain glass decanter, I went with this cane one because I like how it ties in with the baskets on the bookcases. And then to continue the baskets or the woven feel, I added the same baskets, well, not the same, but the same material inside the cabinet. And then I have the glass jugs as well so that it all ties together. On the sofa table where I could have added 2 lamps, I went with faux florals instead, along with candles. And I put the florals on this side since I have florals outside on that side. And then in the middle, just a simple bowl and these really pretty green and white ceramic orbs. Down below the sofa table, I added these 2 stools just to fill in that gap a bit. Now I will say, while this design isn't my favorite, I may end up covering the scalloped trim one day. The reason I added the scalloped bowls to the bookcases is because the shape mimics that. So I know I sound like a broken record when I say I like how it ties it all together. This little blanket ladder that I made a few years ago sure has come in handy. It has traveled all over our house. I think everybody needs a blanket ladder. It is such a great filler for an empty spot on a wall. You can angle it in a corner. You can have lots of throws hanging from it, or in my case, just one with a little bit of texture. You can hang garland or lights, baskets. The possibilities are endless. Friday, friends, we are in the foyer pre-planning for summer decor. Let's just ignore that little paint over there. It's just painted ahead of time because I'm going to be continuing the board and batten. Not today, I'm still putting that project off, but I know it looks a little weird over there. So today is going to be about figuring out what I want to put on this wall. The mirror, the chairs, and the table, they've been there a while. It's time for a different look. And to give you a little bit of perspective in case you're new here, where we have the chairs and the table and mirror there, if I slowly turn you this way, we have the console table, mirror, lamps, and prints there. Now, I'm not going to be changing out the prints today or even doing anything on this wall. It's just figuring out what I want to do over here. And then from there, if we turn this way, you'll see a very empty corner, blank walls. Unfortunately, they're going to stay that way a little bit longer because I have to add the board and batten there as well. So that's kind of motivating me to get started on that project. But the cabinet that was there is the one that I moved into the sitting room a couple of weeks ago. And then going back over here, again, this is where I will be focusing my attention today. Dust bunnies are gone, did a little vacuuming. My blank slate is ready to go. So I'm going to bring back a piece that I haven't had in here for a while. Let's see what we think. Settee is in place. What do you think? My husband bought this for me several years ago with the intention of it staying in here, but of course it's made its way around the house since then. I haven't had it back here though since I painted the board and batten the Asiago. Not really crazy how it's blending into the wall. I may end up doing something to this piece to fix that, but for now I think I can disguise it with textiles. Now the first thing I want to do is add a rug. This is such an awkward space because of how the closet juts out. I can't have the full size that I want in here, so I gotta get creative. Let me go grab something. Just went and grabbed this from the dining room. We have a couple of these faux hide rugs. I love them. I love that they are faux. I love their shape because they work really well in any kind of awkward spot you might have in your house. They're great to layer over rugs like seagrass or sisal or jute, and they make for a really fun focal point. This piece hanging below the console table, but thought it would be fun here. I feel like it helps to break up the beige in the Asiago as well as the settee, offering just that little bit of contrast. So now that that's done, I'm not crazy about the gap, or not the gap, the emptiness on each side. So let's do something about that. Think of these. They've been hiding in our storage room for quite a while, so it was nice to bring them out again. I like how they contrast with the wall color and the settee, but they tie in with the wood wall art, kind of creating that down, up, down pattern. And it also ties in with the white wall above and the prints. So I think these will work, but now I need lamps. Here are my two choices. I have this one and its twin. They're up in the guest room. Or I have this one and its twin have been hiding down in the storage room. Now, I like how this one contrasts with the beige as well as the beige settee. I like that that little linen pattern kind of mimics, if you look closely enough, the pattern that's in the settee, even though they're two different colors. And you can never go wrong with glass. I love the height of this one, but I'm not crazy how the lampshade just blends in with the wall, and it doesn't quite match the settee. It looks like it was a hit and a miss, if you know what I mean. The green is really pretty, but it's bringing out a little bit of an olive undertone. Surprised I went with the white and glass ones. Were you voting for the green ones? I went with these for a couple of reasons. I like the height. I feel like the other ones were a little too tall. It competed with this piece, but I like how the white shades tie in with the wood wall art, but yet the pattern ties in with the settee. It's the same pattern. So I felt like it was a win-win, and you can never go wrong with glass. But I do agree that we need some color. And I can fix that problem with pillows. What about these? I just grabbed them from the storage room. They were last in our sunroom. They have definitely made their way around the house time and time again, but I love a classic plaid pattern. It has the pretty shades of green, beige, like a darker beige, a lighter beige, and the white. So I think it'll tie in nicely with the settee and the prints. I think they look pretty good. I grabbed this larger lumbar just to fill the gap a little bit, cozy it up, offer some contrast, and also because I don't think I'm going to add a throw, I'm just going to keep it simple, pillows with the settee. But now I need greenery. Last thing, I need something in that corner to conceal that part of the wall that I painted Asiago that I have yet to cover with board and batten. So I'm going to borrow something from the family room, even if it's only temporary. At the last minute, I decided to add a pop of color here too by bringing in these plates. I know I covered up the bunny, but at least the pretty green and white trim is visible.